my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre.
To 1D Talks, brought to you by firstdetachment.com. We have exciting guests for you tonight. But before we get started, please be sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications for upcoming educational content from 1D Talks, rants, and much more. As always, be sure to leave questions and feedback in the comments sections. Now for our sponsors of the show. This episode is brought to you by First Detachment. First Detachment is an expert formulated supplement company founded by renowned coach Justin Harris. We've combined science with real-world experience in each product. We are battle-tested. Are you? Find your battle today at firstdetachment.com. Yeah. No, and I'm curious too, just for people out there, I mean, obviously with your accomplishments and how many years of knowledge, maybe if we could unpack a little bit, just some examples. And of course, I'm sure, with your training, you would adjust it different depending on the person. But let's say, you mentioned if we started with like deadlift, what would a progression look like in a phase, if you will, of trying to improve the deadlift? If you were doing, say, rack pulls, were you doing it for a certain amount of time? Were you adjusting the height of the rack pull, or was it a fixed height the whole time? I'm just kind of curious to how you would approach some of those type movements. And then maybe next after that, we can kind of talk deficits and how you approach that. Just really,
Right.
You have so many years and so much wealth of knowledge. I think it'd be great for people out there to kind of hear a little bit more about maybe some of those examples of how you've approached that.
If I was doing rack pulls, I definitely wouldn't do deficits during the same time.
Mhm.
So I would just start out, if it's the beginning of the cycle, you starting out, just pretty light or whatever, maybe not, So I'm trying to think how strong I was back then when I was at a certain point. So say I could do rack pulls at, say, 1100 at the end of my cycle, 11 something, pretty heavy. Then I might start with like the first week, maybe like and I'd always do one heavy set off the floor. I always did this for like ever. I always believed in just doing if I deadlifted, I just do one heavy set. I didn't believe in doing 5 sets of 5 off the floor and deadlift or you know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to do accessory work and I want to work on accessories. So I go up and hit my one heavy set.
Yeah.
If the first week is one set of 5, or 5 to 8 or whatever with say 700, then that's what I'm doing. When I go to my rack pulls, I want to at least be 100 pounds over. So 100, maybe 150, maybe 800 for, a couple sets of 3 or something, or maybe probably back then 825, 850, because my strength was I can't even remember how crazy it was. But then each week you just keep going up, keep going up, keep going up, and just keep gradually going. But I would never do more than, because of all the accessory training I did was so brutal, I did one set of the power movement.
And just for clarification for people out there that might not be as familiar with that set, how many reps in that one heavy set would you do?
It just depended on where I was in the cycle. I
Okay.
mean, if it was the first week of the cycle, it may be 8 reps, maybe 10 reps. Or, if it's the fourth week, it may be 5 to 5 to 8, maybe, depending on how many weeks I got before the competition. Then I'd break it down to 3, maybe 2. Maybe I do some singles toward the end. Just depend, and back off and do down sets. I love drop sets.
Yeah.
So we just done that way. I would, and that just seemed to work for me. Doing, because if you spend too much time doing, I always thought if I burnt myself out doing the main movement too much, then wouldn't have enough gas to do the accessories.
Sure.
And I love doing accessories. That's why I always did one heavy set of deadlifts, and then straight to the accessory stuff. Because I'm gonna do my accessory. I'm gonna spend another hour and a half probably doing accessories, if not 2 hours.
Yeah. No, it's a good message out there for people, because
Yeah.
I think sometimes they like that. Maybe some are spending too much time on the actual movement.
Main movement.
Yeah, just
Right.
not being able to have the energy or the push to do the work on the accessories to support the main movement, as you're saying.
Right. They got to work on, I believe, on working on your technique, your form, everything through, throughout, and then just go get it and shut it down, work on your accessories.
And how long generally was a training cycle?
12 weeks.
12 weeks. Yeah. Got it. And so same with deficits as well. You similar way you approach the rack pull.
Yeah, well, deficits, if I did deficits, it'd be in the off season, it'd be kind of like more 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
6 to be just less, about 8 weeks is about as long as I would do deficits. And
Okay.
I did them after every meet. The next week, I didn't even take any time off. The next week after a competition, I was doing deficits for like
Got
8 weeks. Yeah, every
Got
time.
it. John, welcome back. And we had some technical difficulty.
Yeah,
we were getting in the weeds with Mr. Goggins here, trying to for our audience out there, but also selfishly for myself, trying to steal some nuggets from you. So I appreciate you walking through some of that.
Well, let me ask you, Steve. So obviously people know you for 1102, right? They see what at the time, if people aren't familiar with it, since raw lifting is so popular now, people don't realize like before, oh my gosh, like 2010 maybe, like raw lifting wasn't really a thing. It wasn't.
Right.
You pretty much had, since the start of powerlifting, was single ply, which back in the day, what was it, like a Z suit? I can't even remember what those suits were. It feels like almost like a tight singlet.
Right, Z suit or Titan suit. Either Titan had some good suits. Yeah.
And so, and then you had like real soft gold line or whatever knee wraps. But
Right.
everyone wore those. There was no different division stuff. And then over time, obviously gear manufacturers started making the multiply and stuff in the 90s and 2000s and all that stuff. But the difference of equipment that you felt lifting at a meet like the Hawaiian record breakers, which if people don't remember the Hawaiian record breakers, this was on the cover of Powerlifting USA. I believe you were on the cover of that one. And Joe, we might be able to find that if we look up Steve online for the Powerlifting USA covers. But using that equipment, was there a different way you had to train as opposed to 1102? For obviously walking out versus the monolift when you did 1102, but I'm talking more, did your training change when you were wearing a suit that barely did anything for you as opposed to a more single ply suit, which you wore like a pretty hefty single ply pretty much for the 1102? How did your training change?
It was pretty much the same. I didn't change my training at all as far as that. Because I would go straps down a lot during the beginning of the cycle. Straps wouldn't go up, that is until you get like, way into the cycle, maybe 6, 8 weeks, maybe, close to the, to the end, when you're getting the big weight on there. I wouldn't put the straps up until then.
Is it true that people used to blow those suits out?
Oh,
like
yeah. Yeah, I've been in a meet before and had nothing but jock on, blew my suit out, the ass out. Yeah. It's happened plenty of times. Yep.
Yeah. So
I only had it happen once, but yeah, I learned.
Now, you did a competition, and there is video online. What was it, like the Deadliest deadlift or something like that to that effect? And you came out and you had like an M60 or something, and you're just like launching off like dummy rounds and stuff, and then you go up and smoke an 800 deadlift. Like, what were those types of competitions like? Because that looks fun. That looks like people want to watch it. We don't really have that nowadays.
Yeah, that was John Enzer put that on, and Enzer was kind of unique. Enzer is kind of unique. He's a unique guy, and a lot of people don't know him because he don't really put himself out there. But if Enzer Advanced Designs, John Enzer, he is a very unique guy. He wanted to put that competition on. He told me exactly what he wanted to do. He designed everything how he wanted it to be, because he's very he's a different guy. And he said, I want you to, get this AK-47, and I want you to go up in there and fire it. You know what I'm saying? And he even did a commercial where I'm running across like a bridge. I got that somewhere on tape. I don't know where it is.
You'll have to dig that one up.
Run across the bridge, and he's like, and the advertisement for the actual competition, on such and such date, the Deadliest deadlift in Longview, Texas. And I'm sitting there with the gun and like
like Rambo.
yeah. Yep. And that was pretty cool. And then you did a compilation video for me.
Mhm.
Have you seen the video? Somebody did one where I was deadlifting and they took that part of the deadlift from that actual that deadlift deadlift and this girl and they played this music. I forgot the name of the song. Doom, 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 doom. And the girl
Okay.
on the Jeep and she like look, she went like that. And then they switched to me
Oh,
deadlifting.
they put it like a meme. Like
Yeah,
nowadays, like they made a meme
Yes.
out of you.
Actually, Ian did it. Ian Bell did it. Yeah,
Ian Bell did it.
Ian Bell
Ian would
did it.
do that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I did find this one here.
Which one did you find? Which one did you pull?
I just found the
Oh, okay, the 1102.
yeah.
1102, yeah.
So
So
Steve, if people can't see, this is you in the monolift this was WPO, yeah?
Right. This is the first.
2004?
Yeah, this is 2003. This is the first. So a lot of multiply guys like to say I was in the multiply category. So this was when they still had rules to check your gear and to wear. You had to have. You could wear one layer of brief. You could wear one layer of a suit, whether it was laminated or not. This is a laminated suit by Titan, which is a boss suit.
So it's pretty much it was pretty much like a single ply suit.
Right, exactly. Right. Versus when he went to multiply meant there are no rules, no checks, no gear checks. You can wear whatever you want. You can wear 2 pairs, 2 singlets, 3. You can wear whatever you want, as many layers as you want. So I often get like lumped into the same thing with those guys, and they want to say that I was multiply. They can say whatever the hell they want, but I was not multiply. It had a double layer, but the multiply didn't even start that year.
Didn't even exist yet, really.
Yeah, it was the next year. But so they get mad at me all the time. I don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, if you know powerlifting, you can see that suit. It's a single play. It looks like a Titan suit without the Titan logo.
Is the only one that ever before they had the
Velcro
straps. My straps were like this. You put them up.
Normal single ply suit.
No Velcro, none of that. So that was the thing. It was a boss suit. Now it's a good suit. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't have like 2 pair of briefs or 2 suit layers on the bottom.
You would not have. You can see how thin it is, and you would not have been able to do.
Go as deep.
Your squat is deep with those thick multiply canvas suits. There's no way you would have been able to reach those depths.
Right. And that's what I tell a lot of people. You can tell by the way people they can drop down so far with those suits. That's the difference. I didn't really dig the multiply. And that's the only thing. And that kind of was the turn of the sport, I think, for some people. I mean, some people love it.
Mid 2000s type.
Yeah, 2005, 2006, 2007. It just started to go the other direction. It was going a different direction. It was when Karen made it multiply, and the APF went multiply, and because the WPO was a big part of the sport back then, and when they took off and went another direction, the rest of the power community wanted to hey, we don't want to wear all that shit. That shit stands up on its own,
Yeah.
The suit just standing up on its own. So that's when the Raw started happening. Everybody, wanted to go Raw. And they got more women into the sport, more women, and it's it changed. It took a change,
Now, going back to the 1102 that Joe just showed, okay, so I've walked out pretty heavy squats. The most I've ever walked out, I think with a belt on, I was doing like partials, like sort of partial training, CNS training. It's like 950 or something like that. When you walk out that weight, yeah, if you're in a monolift, it feels, but you were used to walking weight out. You walked out 1,000-pound squats, you've done all that.
Oh, plenty of times, yeah.
Now, when you went, let's say you're at the WPO, did you know you were going to squat 1102 that day? And then when you got what was it like? The buildup behind, because I remember the feeling when you're about to lift something heavy that you've never done before in your life.
Right.
You're terrified, but the mindset you have to have is it's sort of like a lunatic, but you're thinking the whole time, I don't care if I die. I don't care. I don't care if I blow out my knees, because you can't have that hesitation. You'll get hurt. So what was it like leading up, did you even know you were going to do that? And then when you loaded it up, like, what did it feel like? Tell us the whole story of the 1102.
So I opened up with coming into the meet, I had a great training cycle. Everything went great. As far as the squat went, I mean, I was like, everything's good. And so I got to the meet. It's just like you never get too high, you never get too low before the meet. You're always thinking, let's go in here, let's see how it feels. And somebody asks what you go do, you go, we'll see. We'll see how it feels. So in my mind, I didn't know I was going to squat 1100, but I thought my goal was to break the record that Brent Meixell had set, was 1074. And so I chipped that and went 1076 on my second attempt. But my first attempt was 1,000 pounds, and I picked it up and I squatted it. I was like, holy shit, this shit is
You knew after that first one.
This is easy. I'm like, wow. And the crowd's into it, you're into it, and you got every lifter that's somebody lifting that day. Everybody that's, all the top dogs are right there with you. Every top dog is right there in the building. So my thought process is, you know what? I don't think I can win this thing, but I'm gonna show them how to squat. You know what I mean? I thought I had a chance to win the meet. So I go up for 1076, annihilate that, and I go, oh wow, I just broke the world record. I own that. It was like, but going into it, like with those type of crowds and people around, I lived for that back in those days. It was like, it was a type of like, just feeling of like, I feel like, I'm untouchable at that point. I'm like, when I get on the platform, I'm good. You know what I mean? That day, I felt like I was like it. And so I went up for 1102, I was like, when they said the bar was loaded and I was chalking up, I think they're putting on my strap. You can see another video of the show. Like, I'm telling the crowd, like, let me hear you. Like, make some noise. You want to see something. You know what I'm saying? Because I was feeling that good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was going to do it when I came in the building, but before I got to the bar, I knew I was going to do it.
Because you're normally, and so, because I know you're calm, you're like a humble guy, you're funny, you joke around, stuff like that, but you're not like boastful and in people's face and stuff. So you being like that, you knew you had that.
Oh yeah. And it was an opportunity to show my peers, like, who was the best, so that's what I really wanted to do. That was the biggest thing. I wanted to I wanted to show them, hey, I am the best. If you could show the one before, it's another video before that.
Before this, I just saw, this one I saw you getting fired up, so I was trying to capture that. But
oh, okay, yeah,
I'll keep searching though.
How did it feel when you unracked it? How did it feel?
It felt super heavy.
like okay, so
it's a good answer, right?
for people who may not know, when you unrack a weight that is possibly something you've never even done before, even if you've trained for it, when you get to that point, and correct me if I'm wrong, I remember how I would feel. You almost lose the feeling of like, from like the waist down type, like, you're holding it, but it feels like you've lost feeling in your body type thing.
Yeah, I thought that shit was, I like, this is crushing, but you know what? I'm gonna just ride. And I kind of hit the bottom of the hole. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna hit the bottom of the hole. And I'm gonna just see what happens, And when I kind of got a little dip in there, because it wasn't really a dip. It was more like I lost control a little bit.
So you sort of got a little loose in the hole.
Yeah.
Dude, if you get loose on a squat, 500 pounds, you could shift and drop it and fall and get hurt. Dude, you got loose in the hole with 1100 and had to tighten up again to get your form right. That is insane. I've never heard that. I don't think people know that.
Yeah, and I just like started driving, and when I started coming up, when the weight started coming up, I was like, it's moving. And it got about halfway, and I go, I'm gonna get this. Yeah, I got this. You look at my eyes. If you watch my eyes at the top,
they get big.
Yeah, it get big. I'm like, oh shit. I was just as excited as like, oh, I'm gonna do this, as people in the audience would. I was the same way, even though as before, as boastful and arrogant as I was about doing it, because I needed to be I needed to be confident.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I went through the actual lift, I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing this, And that was a moment, and I remember that moment. It was pretty cool. I mean, I lived it. I mean, that second or whatever it took to get that up. Most people, a lot of lifts I've done, and you've probably done too, John, where you don't remember what goes on. I just hit it. I don't know what happened. I remember the feeling of how I was feeling, and I can go back and watch the video and know how I felt, what I was thinking doing certain parts of that.
Joe, do you have the video?
I was gonna say, I want to show
in,
people what.
So he's got the ammonia in the mouth. He's ready.
Yeah. This is after you got your belt tightened up, and then.
Yeah.
God, you look big there, man.
Yelling to the crowd here.
Yelling to the crowd.
Bring it. Let's go. Y'all don't want to see no way. You got to make some noise. What I'm telling you. Yeah.
That was all 275. Easy.
Yeah.
You a big boy, man.
No, I weighed in at 264 after eating with like my.
Oh, so you were light 275.
Oh yeah. I ate a full meal, went in there and weighed in with my shorts and t-shirt on.
Yeah,
it was pretty wild.
Yeah, to see it. Yeah, it's getting them fired up.
And you can see the straps. That's a single ply suit nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see that. That's single ply suit.
Yep. I got a full snorted ammonia. I got all of it.
Yeah, it was kind of a little hard.
Right here, you had no idea where you were.
No, I'm about to fall. I'm like, whoa. Yeah.
Go back, Joe, a little bit. See if you can see where his eyes, when he's coming out of the hole, his eyes get big because he realizes that he's like, oh my God, I'm actually coming up with this thing. Yeah, right there. Stop right there. He's going down.
Oh man, look at that.
There you go.
Thinks it. Right there. You see his eyes. Look at his eyes.
Like, yeah, what? Am I gonna get
That's the amount of blood pressure. I'm surprised your eyeballs didn't pop out, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm proud of my probably why I can't see real good today.
That might be. That's so impressive, man. That's one of those lifts, like we talked about in the beginning, that just goes across generations. That's like, it doesn't matter who you are, how you lift. If you've been in the gym and you've put 315 on your back, 405, 500, 585, 675, we go on. You know what that feels like. So imagine 1102, 1,102 pounds, sinking it in the hole, getting loose, getting your form back and standing up with it. That is possibly one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in the strength community. So yeah, kudos on that. But
I was going to ask John, just kind of, from that, obviously that time period was like early 2000s. When did the two of you connect? Because you trained with Steve for a little bit, right?
So I was, Steve and I have a pretty similar background. We're both from small towns in Virginia. He went, Army, and I was at Virginia Military Institute. So shout out VMI. And so I was on the VMI powerlifting team. And I was national champ, junior national champ. I had made the IPF World team. I had medaled at IPF Worlds by my senior year, which was cool because you're sort of, you're walking around campus and like people sort of leave you alone because they're like, they don't give you a hard time for training anymore because you've accomplished something. So I get a little bit of an injury going into my senior year. I end up getting second at collegiates with the injury, so it wasn't too bad. But I was pretty tweaked up. And so I moved down to Atlanta, Georgia after college, and I was working for Sherman Ledford, who owned Quest Athletics. And I remember I went to a USAPL meet, and being someone who loves the sport, everything about the sport, all the legends, you give respect to everyone who came before you. Doesn't matter. Like, you give them respect. And so I remember I saw Steve at a meet, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I told my buddy, I said, Brooks, I was like, is that Steve Goggins? He's like, yeah. He's like, he lives in this area. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So I was like, all right, I'm a nobody, right? But I'm gonna build up the courage to go talk to this guy. I remember I went over to him and I was like, Mr. Goggins, it's an honor. Do you think that, I would be able to, come train with you sometime? I'm a little tweaked right now. And I'm assuming that Steve is going to, I'm assuming that Steve is going to sort of be like, well, I got a lot of guys that train this and that, but he wasn't. He was the most down to earth. He was the coolest guy. He was the most understanding. He worked with me. I think probably by our fourth time I went to his house training, I was repping 700 on deadlift. And he brought me out of like a dark place. And he gave me, and he used to tell me this. He would tell me, he's like, you got to have confidence in yourself. He's like, you don't have enough confidence. And I was a good lifter and I had talent and I worked hard. But Steve, he might not even realize it, but he gave me the confidence to end up breaking the all-time world record.
All right. So I know, like, John, Steve was training you and helping you some things. And then you were present at his last meet. So just kind of curious to, what was the time period between the last meet and the one before that? And then how did that preparation in that last meet go for you?
Yeah, Steve. Well, yeah, because what was the last one you had done was what, like the 04, 05 or something like that? Or
I done 05.
05. Was that the last meet?
Yeah, that was the last meet I did. Yeah, where is that?
And then we decided to go to Raw Unity and we were training together. And I remember we would just sit at your house at night and we would watch old training videos and we were hyping each other up. We were having fun. And you're like, man, let's go do the Raw Unity. And so we flew down there and I think we were more focused on your deadlift. We were like, we got to pull 800, let's pull 800. Cause you were what, 50 or 51 or
50 or 51, something like that.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, let's pull 800. How did it feel? How did everything, you remember that? How did it go down?
Remember, I didn't pull 8.
You did? I thought you pulled it.
No, I didn't pull 8. I had a rough meet that meet. I did like it probably after that meet. I think I ended up doing I did like 800 in training squat.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did close to like a 775 or something for maybe a double or triple in the gym, deadlift. And then at the meet, I just remember it just wasn't. I didn't have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a great day. And then not too long after that is when I had the hip surgery, like maybe less than a year later or something like that.
Because it got to the point that you almost couldn't walk. I remember that. You almost that was really, because you pulled 800 up at Elite FTS.
Right, I did Elite.
So that was when you pulled it, because I think you pulled 800.
Yeah. Well, I'm a trainer. I coach people. I think I'm a pretty good powerlifting coach. If anybody want to get better in powerlifting, they should reach out to me and I do online programming. I definitely do that. So anybody looking to do that, I do, programming for men and women. It's you never know until you train with me for about 3 or 4, months or whatever. You'll see a huge difference. And at my gym, I'm getting ready to open up a new gym. So I didn't get a chance to tell you that. So just found the building. Everything looks good. If everything kicks off the way it's supposed to, it's going to be set up to where other meet directors can come host a meet at my gym if they want to.
Good.
So anybody want to host a meet in the Atlanta area, they want to all they got to do is plug and play. Everything will be already there. It'll be set up. You just be whatever fee. Anybody, you don't have to own any equipment. Everything will be there. I got lights, the chair, everything. Like from the lights to the chairs to every bar, from Kabuki bars to Texas Power bars to everything.
Nice.
To whatever organization you want to bring to the gym. It doesn't matter. I don't
What's
care.
the best way to reach you, Steve?
Best way to reach me is either through my Gmail, gogginsforce@gmail.com, or they can or catch me on Instagram at gogginsforce.
Okay. gogginsforce@gmail.com. Yeah, we'll definitely we'll plug that in the notes as well for those out there. And then definitely once you get it open, I mean, we'd love to come down at some point. We can
definitely
some content and also pick your brain and learn from the best. So
that'd be fun.
As John was mentioning, we do a round here. We wrap up our interviews with, we call it shoot, move, communicate. So it's more of a mixture of questions. So more rapid fire. Some are one word answers, some you can elaborate on, but I'll kind of guide you through each one. So
okay.
So the first one, again, this could be more than a one word, but we'll start off with what accomplishment in your competitive life are you most proud of?
My squat.
The 1100
my
plus?
squat. 1102, yeah.
Yep. Nice. Good deal. What accomplishment outside of competition are you most proud of?
Coaching people, being able to work with people one-on-one and see people smile, make people, give back to the sport. That just to me, being able to, I know it's more than one word, but if being able to
No.
coach people and see them happy and successful is one of the biggest. That's probably, it's made me more happy. It's why I keep staying in the sport.
Yeah.
Just for that to keep getting that feeling is awesome.
Well, yeah, no, good deal. I appreciate that. And the next one word to describe an 1,100 pound, someone who squats 1,100 pound, what would be one word to describe that person?
Oh, one word to describe that person?
Yes.
Oh, man. If I was describing somebody else, that's phenomenal. So.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. So if you're a young up and coming squatter, a person trying to break a record in any of the, I guess any of the core lifts, what would be one word of encouragement that comes to mind?
Commitment.
Good deal. Good deal. And next is, talking about, we like to ask this question: if you had to miss a meal, a night of sleep, or a training session, which one would you pick to miss?
A meal.
Good deal. All right, next one is if you had to, one thing that parallels your competitive ventures and just life, what would it be? Something that parallels both.
Like the comparison of competitive nature in life.
Yeah, just like that you could take out a competition and apply it to life.
I would say probably just trying to think of the right word for it. Maybe
you can say more than one word too. That's fine.
I mean, just being like if just trying to be consistent. Be consistent in everything you do. Just be consistent. I think that's the biggest thing I can think about.
Yeah.
The transfers from life to because everybody needs to be consistent in what you do in life versus your training.
Sure.
Everything. I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah. No. Good deal. Next one is, we talk a lot about, one of our sayings at First Attachment is, it's all in. So we say we're all in. And so, one of the things that we like to ask is, what is something that you're all in on right now?
Right now I'm all in on trying to build this business with this gym.
Yeah. Good deal. Good deal. We're excited to watch that.
And it's all about powerlifting.
Yeah.
I've been all in on powerlifting for a long time.
No, we're really excited to watch that. And, I know this is our first time meeting, but I can just tell, your energy and just your heart as a person definitely comes through. And I was telling John, I said, I started going through, I mean, I've seen the squat before, but I started going through your content, and it's just, there's so much you've given back to the sport. So I'm very, very confident that, whatever business venture that you put out there, that's still going to be giving back to the sport, but hopefully, covering some of your needs as well. I'm sure that the sport will give back to you. So appreciate all that you're doing and all your content. There's a ton. So I got a lot of listening and reading to do to pick up.
I appreciate it, Joe. And by the way, I want to say I'm so proud of John for what he's doing and how far he's come. That's definitely the true meaning of commitment and dedication. That dude is like unbelievable. I never believed he could look like that.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's totally incredible. Yeah.
And what do you got, John? About 5 more weeks or so, right? Something like that?
No, we're 3 weeks out.
Oh, 3 weeks, man. Where have I been?
Yeah, so hopefully we can get that W and bring back the pro card. So that'll be like Steve and I have talked many times, you just do the best you can. You 100% commitment, dedication, and the cards will, lie where they fall. And at the end of the day, there are certain things that you can't control, whether it's a ref
Yep.
or a judge or things like that. And so, you know, we just do the best we can. And having someone in my corner like Steve, and I've bragged about him a million. People probably get sick of how much I brag about Steve, but
Right.
you know, to be able to have someone like that who led me on the right path, who gave me the confidence and the ability to, the things I'm still achieving today and will achieve in the future are 100% also due to Steve having a confidence in me and building me up when I was just a young pup. So I'm very appreciative of Steve and the kind words. That means a lot.
Most definitely, you're welcome. This is just one competition you got right here. You go do well in it, but you got many more. You're looking for the future. You
Well,
young dude.
On that note, we'll end there. So thanks everybody for viewing in. Again, reminder to like, subscribe, turn on notifications and comment, send your questions. And you guys have a great night. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you.